You're welcome back to the Eastern Business Report here on Afia TV. Anambra State Governor Professor Charles Soludo recently made a statement that has sparked significant conversation across the business community that the Southeast region contributes just 8% to Nigeria's GDP. For a region historically defined by its entrepreneurial spirit and massive commercial hubs, that single digits feels disconnected from what we see on the ground. This is especially true today with local markets and enterprises operating at full capacity. So, does the 8% reflect our actual economic output, or does it simply highlight the massive gap between our informal wealth and official data? Joining me to make sense of the numbers and to discuss what this means for regional investment is a public affairs analyst, Mr. Chime Emmanuel. Mr. Chime, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So, Governor Soludo places the Southeast GDP contribution at 8%. Does this figure reflect our true economic output or just our highly informal economy?
I think I will start with when did he got that figure? Where and when? Perhaps if you check the record he have, he was citing what happened back then 1990s. And so when you look at that, you discover that the governor is discussing yesterday. He's not discussing today, let alone making projection for tomorrow. And so the other way around, there are certain things you say today, about Southeast that doesn't represent the realities in Southeast. Somehow, you may have succeeded in, self-inflicting yourself with lots of injuries. And perhaps, spurring Southeast intellectually mobile, intellectually aware fellows, to begin to feel agitated and begin to ask plenty of questions on what has happened with this graph or what has happened with this chart. When would they be placed at that kind of, figures? And so the other way around, who are the most enterprising in Nigeria? When you talk about importation in Nigeria, who are the importers in Nigeria? When you talk about the business, when we're talking about the economy, who are the drivers of the economy of Nigeria? These are the questions we should be looking at. A lot of indices are proven where these things are coming from. And so the other way around again, maybe Governor Soludo is unaware that back then, that was since back 2006, we last counted population census in Nigeria. All right. So, and we saw what happened there, what played out then. The counting in most other parts of this country, we are more like what we witnessed in the last APC's party primaries, where you jump from number 30 to number 301, and you jump from 301 to 1002. So these were the kind of thing we witnessed during 2006 census. And perhaps see today, that demographic differences are still haunting us, because it plays out when you talk about distributing the national cake, all right? It plays out there. And so when you bring it to that what we have in Southeast today, officially, today we cannot say, okay, this is the actual official population of Nigeria today. As to determine, okay, Southeast is 36 million, or Southeast 21 million in population, or Southeast is about 12 to 18% of Nigeria's whole population. If we're able to have such currently, then we'll not be able to begin to talk about, okay, this is exactly what these people are bringing to the table. What are the indices, for goodness sake? Where do we have more of that poverty in Nigeria, for goodness sake? So who are now the drivers of the economy of Nigeria? And this is why there are a lot of agitation demanding that if you have a company, a branch of your company, or a company that maybe, for instance, those that are doing mining and those that are doing oil drilling within oil-rich region down here in the south, you should bring down your headquarters down to where you are doing your business. Because that's where you should be paying your tax. Not you will be doing your business here, making your money here, then going to Lagos to go and pay your tax. Then at the end of the day, we will hear Loquacious governor, who shouldn't have been, saying that, hey, Lagos is making more money, even more than a particular region. So for goodness sake, if you look at certain indices, then you discover that this is not about what he's saying now. It's about the realities that are on ground. He's not aligning with the realities on ground. But maybe, I think that the governor, he have this penchant for talking down on his own people, his own land, his own state. And it's not a very good one. He was actually saying this in the light of sit at home on Mondays. Sit at home is just one day in a week. How many days makes up a week? That's 7 days, for goodness. And so you are talking about, meanwhile, in the first instance, what is sit at home? Why sit at home? Have you ever been able to go into details, on why sit at home came into being in the first instance? These are the reasons. I mean, these are questions the governor should have asked self. And after which, you have the very good platform. You should begin to look at how do we solve this. Not to force the people, hey, you mustn't be at home, you must come to your shop and come and do business. What about a person come to shop, open the shop, and nobody comes to buy? And so the other way around again, when we are talking about sit at home, what is the reason for sit at home? If people said, we have our leader, we have one of our sons, we have one of our brothers, one of our uncles from the same region who is being incarcerated. We want him out of incarceration. Bring him out. You are a governor. And we have not been making a demand for him to be released. So when you see all this happening, then you begin to check the political side of it. Who is the leader? Who are the people listening to? Who are the people following his or her order? All right? And so there are people whose prime wish is that this particular guy did not come out so that they can reign in their own time. Because if not, if he comes out, the people tend to listen to him more than they listen to them, who are the politicians in the region. And so it is discovered that the major reason why we sit at home is there. It's because of, prior to now, it wouldn't have sit at home. It would have been coming out to the street to come and demonstrate. Then those that will go to market will go to market. Those that will go to wherever will go. But those that want to represent others will stand out on the street, demonstrate, using their placard, maybe flag or thereabout, making a demand for certain interest. But at a time, now discovering that the government of the day, have been unleashing actions of pathological hatred on them by the reason of shoot at sight. Oh, these guys now seeing that each time we come out to come and protest, then we count losses of human lives. So instead of doing that, let's re-strategize. So now, re-strategizing, this protest will no longer be coming out to the streets. Then what we're going to do now is that we're going to be sitting at home, withdrawal from any economic activity for the day. We will withdraw. And so immediately they started doing that. It appears to be so effective. In fact, it is effective. That's why the governor is complaining. It is effective. But the other way around, if you don't want that to happen, why not to demand from the persons who are holding this guy to say, release him, let him go? You're a governor, for goodness sake. If this guy is actually a terrorist or is a problem to the world or to the society where he belongs to locally here, U.S. congressmen wouldn't have been demanding for his release. Wouldn't have been saying, as at yesterday, U.S. congressmen have been demanding that. That's Jones James that was demanding yesterday on the floor of the House of Representatives in U.S., demanding that international human rights standards should be maintained in approaching the case concerning the Nnamdi Kanu of a person. But you don't hear our leaders here discussing that. Then how do you then think that the people who are following him, the people who are listening to his words, the people who are even saying today that all he said before he got imprisoned, that all of them are now happening today, including other people from other regions, are now saying that what he said before he got arrested and imprisoned are all happening today. That had even they knew, they would have listened to him. If you go to the internet, you see a lot of people from different regions talking, trying to now say, we are aligning with this guy, that they should even release him, because all he had been saying is now happening. And so you discover that when such is happening, what do? You begin to look at how to solve the problem from the roots, not trying to go to the surface and you begin to cut the tree. If you cut it, it will still sprout up.
So what immediate steps can be taken to capture unrecorded trade in hubs like Onitsha and Aba into the formal GDP without stifling local commerce?
It is very easy to be managed. We have governors or we have governments in Southeast region. It is very easy that we can easily create systems that can gather the figures, the data of our businesses within the region. so that we'll have our own data by our own selves. Even if other people choose to, misrepresent us, then we'll be able to have our own data, not sentiments. We'll be able to have our own data and say, okay, you are saying that so and so is happening. This is what we have. Give us exactly how you were able to gather the figure you got. The figure you got. We have a president today who participated, a sitting president today who participated in primaries, party primaries. And today they told us that he garnered over 10.9 million in primaries. Right? Now that 10.9 million, if you go to see videos popping up from the exercise, then you begin to see certain ear-stunning videos, contents that are coming from there. You see where people are jumping margins, jumping figures. Now, when you see that, you begin to ask yourself, and meanwhile, the president finally celebrated the victory, that he garnered over 10 million, getting to 11 million votes. Now, the same way, you may still see people who counted that kind of vote, who will now come, carry our statistical table, then I begin to jump figures just to make sure that they pin down a particular people, they pin down a particular region, just to make sure that they try to allocate certain kind of unjustifiable figures to a particular race, to a particular region. Nigeria is a place where religion and tribalism, reigns supreme. You cannot take it out of our polity. But it is quite unfortunate if we ourselves, we now come to ourselves and begin to use that same weapon against ourselves. It becomes so reprehensible. And it is not expected of Governor Soludo at all. For goodness, it's not expected of him. For goodness, he has been doing a whole lot. He has been saying a whole lot. That was sometime 2 to 3 years now. He rightly said that those who are causing mayhem in Southeast are not the foreigners that we think they are. That it is Southeasterners. And so for goodness sake, saying so to international communities. So for goodness sake, it is not done. You don't do that. You don't do that in other regions. Meanwhile, it's not even about you don't do that in other regions. We Southeasterners are not people who protect criminality where it is happening under our noses and mustaches. We don't do that. We expose that. We make sure we do away with that. That's a people we are. That's our identity. We don't host criminality. But when you see some pockets of challenges, then you now magnify it and now say that this is oh my God, no, it's not supposed to be. I mean, a leader, before you talk, you think. You don't finish raising a building structure, then before you now go and invite architectural engineer to come and begin to design the building when you must have finished building it. No, before you talk, you connect your brain to your mouth. So your brain will transmit before you begin to express your loquacious tendencies. So for goodness sake, saying that alone now made every other person to believe that the Maludas who are moving from one bush to another bush, ransacking villages, killing and maiming lives, chasing people out of their ancestral homes, that they are not even the ones that are doing it here. But the international communities, they know exactly the problem we have. But you don't use because of political interest, maybe projections you are having after your tenure as a governor, where you want to be. Then you begin to sell off your people. Using the current position you have today to sell off your people. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. There are certain things that on a normal note, an SNDBO should step in and begin to fix certain things.
So with the Southeast Development Commission in focus, how critical is it for the 5 states to harmonize economic policies instead of operating indifferently?
It is very easy to get done. At least if not for another thing, Southeast Development Commission can always come to the area of constructing railway lines connecting the entire Southeast region. The commission can always, hold summits from time to time, then have a common template that covers the entire region. Then that common template is going to come is going to cut across so and so state, or each state you're going to be remitting so and so figures into the central coffers of the region. Then this is exactly the developmental template that we have. And we are going to begin to, execute the development. And when sort is happening, you discover that we have been able to galvanize our economic strength, put it together, and begin to develop Southeast, open up the economic poor view of Southeast. And you see things happening generally in Southeast, not about a particular state and the other state, differently. But it will be about Southeast as a region.
So what structural incentives are needed to reverse capital flights and encourage our entrepreneurs to invest within the region?
We have a lot of startups. And the major challenge that we have in this side of the region, or in this side of the country, and of course outside this side of the country as well, is having access to capital. And one beautiful nonsense that is happening in this country is that once you're a startup, forget it. Nobody believes in you. The government can make funds available for those who have been at the brim. Give them more funds. Ask them to come and take more funds. But you that is a startup, no, nobody believes in you. Your intellectual capacity, your intellectual property is never enough to be used to trust you. We don't even trust in our academic institutions, the output of our academic institutions. We don't even trust, that this person has been trained in so and so school, and so therefore, if this person if this person approaches us, we are going to be able to give this person so and so empowerment or support or assistance, so to say. I'm believing that this person, with the level of knowledge that have been impacted in him or her, he's going to be able to, to bring out so and so result, being tomorrow or thereabout. So we don't even believe in our own system. So if we are going to see a Southeast Development Commission that will begin to fix those areas of trust gaps. Meanwhile, go to our various schools and begin to change our curriculum of studies. We don't keep it at what was studied during the time of Chinua Achebe. No, we don't do that again, because the world is moving. A lot of things are changing. And so begin to talk about how do we train our people so that if they come out with skills, not coming out with rhetorics, not coming out with stories that they told our forefathers. And when you come out, you discover that those stories are not practicable anywhere. You don't see where, after studying in secondary school or primary school or even in the universities, where you now come to see where they will employ you to say, okay, go and draw a cricket, and you begin to rebel it. You don't do that. Nobody employs you to begin to work. To begin to do that. But these are the things that we are still being taught in our schools today. So it should be fixed from those areas. And we know we don't believe in that, but we are still teaching it to our people. If we fix them, if our people are out, you see banks making monies available for those guys, because they know that these guys are equipped with the right knowledge. Come and take this money. Go and fix yourself somewhere. Then again, we begin to work on our own economy within the region. If the government of the federation fail to understand this ideology, then we ourselves, we can begin to work on our own economy within the region. Because another problem we have here is, you may access, say, a 5 million naira, and you want to start up a business, your feasibility study package is already there, and at the end of the day, it was supposed to take you 5 million. And maybe the first tranche of the money have been given to maybe 2 million, 2.5 or 3 million, so to say. And so you discover by the time you deploy it to duty, then maybe going back to take another one, the remaining part of the 5 million. Then you discover that the 5 million naira cumulatively could no longer execute what was captured in your feasibility study. But you now need either extra 2 million or extra 3 million. Not because you miscalculated your cost, but because the economy is degenerating per second. And so when you see all these challenges, these are part of factors that have been, so troubling, for money lenders to give out money to you, because they believe that if they give to you, there is no guarantee you're going to be able to use it very well and, make returns out of that. So, but we can actually begin to fix that, going to the roots to go and solve the problems from the root. Like I said, the area of, train our people in the schools. Then away from schools, there are people who may not have what it takes to go to school. Then what about developing skill acquisition centers? Not by rhetorics. Not the one that will develop, not the one who will establish today. Then we'll discover that if you go there, you don't see anybody to train you. No. We'll be intentional about that. We'll develop it because we want to equip our people. We want to take out our people that are unemployed and underemployed out of the street. We equip them. And immediately they are coming out, we take them from the labor market by the reason of giving them some startup funds. You discover that Southeast, we boom.
So with businesses now operating at full capacity across the region, how can we best position our local enterprises to attract significant domestic investment?
It is very much easy to be done if our governors begin to do the necessary thing that they ought to do. Ease of doing business. Ease of doing business. What are the taxes that you demand from these people, the business operators within the region? Southeast Development Commission should also look at that. In fact, if they can now begin to play the role of a referee, it will be beautiful. Design a master chart template, and everybody will be signatory to it. Don't like we are signatory to Commonwealth as a nation. Then every Southeast governors or Southeast leaders should be signatory to that master chart. We'll work with it as a master template. We'll work with it. Our taxes will streamline it. There are businesses that should be given a compulsory tax holiday. You don't pay until a certain time. It's going to help to cushion the effect of a lot of demands, predators that come to prey on businesses. And when local investors or even say international investors, when they see all this, waiting for businesses, no, they run. They don't want to come and invest there. They don't want to come and do any transaction there. Then we begin to work on the area of, providing hospitals, providing roads, working on electricity, working on potable water to drink. So when we look at that, then our security as well, security of human life. I mean, it makes no sense. On daily basis, we'll keep hearing about this person was kidnapped, and the other day, the other person got beheaded, and nobody is saying anything. The government is not doing anything. I mean, governors should not tell us they are not in charge of security. They shouldn't be giving us such excuses. We have a private citizen, for instance, that's Harrison Gwamnishu. The guy is from Delta State. The guy has been the one that, including people from Oyo State, are writing to him currently that he should come and help them in Oyo State to rescue the kidnapped teachers and the school children. And this guy has been going from different state to different state, from his own state, Delta State, helping out. Even at Imo State, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, he came to Imo State, rescued some kidnapped victims. In fact, at the time, among the videos he released after rescuing those guys, he said that he wants to talk to Igbos in our language. He said that those doing what is happening to us, that they are not our people, that these guys are invaders. He mentioned their names. And it is the same name that everybody knows that these guys are the problem we have in the country today. He said, look, and the guys that were kidnapped, who were rescued, even after paying ransom, they confirmed it is true. That the people that held them hostage, that they are not our people. In Imo State. But this is what was happening, that was about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And the guy said that he had been to Imo State about 2-3 different places again to go and rescue. And meanwhile, it is the same case of these same people of the same identity. That it is not our people. Now, but we have a governor in Anambra State who told the world, hey, that the people everybody is talking about in Nigeria, they are saints. That the criminals in Nigeria are our own people. It is quite unfortunate. So if an individual, if a private citizen can help to rescue victims of kidnap, then what is governors doing? Governors that are running humongous budgets every year, receiving security votes every month. What are you doing with security votes? What are you doing with it? Is it being kept to pay ransom to kidnappers, to equip them the more? What are you doing with the money? So if we begin to work on these areas, security will provide top-notch security guarantee, then you discover that people who want to come to, every investor want to go to where he will invest and he will be safe. His investment will be saved, his life will be saved, and if he falls sick, he can see also to where he can go and get himself well taken care of. If his children are there, they can go to school and they will be taught well. So we look at these basic areas. Lines should be there. Electricity should be there. We shouldn't be depending on national grid. After all, the man that promised us he was going to fix electricity, he later, opted out of the national grid and used our 10 billion, that was in 2025, to go and install solar panels at Asorok, where he reigns supreme. So if such happens, then it should tell us that there is no hope. No hope is coming from that area. After all, the former minister, Adelabu, rightly told us that we have challenges in the electricity area and that they cannot fix it. So if that is happening, then Southeast region, as a region, should be able to begin to look at these areas to solve it by ourselves.
Thank you so much. And that's the much that we can take on the Eastern Business Report. The Afia Business Morning returns tomorrow. Many thanks for staying with us. My name is Cherry Ujukwu. Bye for now.